Chance to see F1 with Brad Pitt. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zank, an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, let's just jump right into F1. I went in there with average expectations. I got to see it in Dolby, so it was a pretty big screen. There was a bunch of people in there. Occasional cell phone popped up, but nothing major. I was pretty happy about that. It is a little bit long, I can tell you that right off the bat. I did start squirming there towards right before the last race. But this was directed by Joseph Kosinski. He is, of course, the director of Top Gun Maverick. He also has a writing credit here as well, and he is also the director of Tron Legacy and Oblivion. So he has worked with Tom Cruise as well, but he's done some other stuff that I don't like, commercials and things like that. That's on his IMDb. And the writer did come back as well. As I said, the director also has a writing credit on here as well, probably more for story, because obviously these guys have worked together in the past. So they said, hey, let's just get together. We'll give you a story, and I'll go write it. So I got to say, I got to give the writer props, because he did create a story that does have some twists and turns. Of course, this reminds me of Days of Thunder. It has a lot of similarities to Days of Thunder, which, of course, was with Tom Cruise early in his career. But the writer, his name is Erin Kruger. And, in fact, thinking of Kruger, the female here did remind me of Diane Kruger. But anyway, this guy has a ton of writing credits. Some decent and some not so good, but everything pretty much well known. Like he did Scream 3, Reindeer Games, Rings, The Ring 2, Skeleton Key. So that's a lot of horror stuff there. Skeleton Key, as I mentioned, Brothers Grimm, which wasn't very good. Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, not very good. Transformers, Dark Side of the Moon, not very good. Transformers Age of Extinction, same thing. Ghost in the Shell, Dumbo. So, like I said, he's got a lot of credits here that you will recognize. A lot of them not so good, but the ones that are good are good. But he does do a good job, like I said, of kind of coming in and giving the characters all this motivation. And I say originally I thought this was going to be like the last car movie, like the Gran Gran Turismo, and where it was him teaching, but it's not. He is brought in to race. So we start out with him in Daytona, where they have to race 24 hours, and then Javier Bardem comes to him and says, hey, I need you to come race for me, because I'm in big trouble. If we don't win, I lose my team. And he puts obviously a ton of money into it, and he hasn't raced in 30 years in F1. He's raced other cars. He loves to race pretty much anything, but he hasn't raced in F1 for many years, and that is because he had a car crash that hurt his back. And they show you the scar on his back continuously throughout the film. Did I need to see it 10 times? Not really. But I can tell you that Brad Pitt has a way. I mean, his charisma is off the chart. He's fun to watch. He does have that cowboy kind of mannerism where he's got this no nonsense, no care in the world. He has that machismo that comes off the screen. He's just fun to watch. He reminds me of we were just talking about Jensen Ackles in the Countdown show, the Prime show, and I kind of think it's kind of like that same type of thing where he's just fun to watch. But I can tell you that what Jensen Ackles doesn't have that Brad Pitt has is that he creates the chemistry. Instead of saying, hey, do these characters have chemistry together, like doing a chemistry read, with Brad Pitt you don't need to do that because he creates his own chemistry with the actors, which is a talent that is lost today. There's not many people that have that kind of talent where they can just sit with someone and say, hey, I've known you for years, and he can pull that off. Or, I hate you, and I don't need to say it. I don't need to do anything, and I can express that, right, just through my mannerism. Or, I'm attracted to you, so you're going to be putty in my hands. He does all of that. So he creates, like, Kerry Condon's character, who's probably best known for her voice. She's done a bunch of TV, but she's probably best known for her voice in Avengers playing Friday. And she was also just played one of the moms in Skeleton Crew. But this is probably going to be her most well-known role in her career. And then we have Damson Idris, who is from Snowfall. And he did one episode of Black Mirror or whatever. I have never seen Snowfall. I know people that have worked on it, but I've never seen it. But I can say that all of the characters here are pretty well developed, and each one of them has their own motivation, and I think that is very well constructed. So Brad Pitt's back. He's got some kind of an issue physically that's going to keep him from being the best. He also has this motivation of being the best. But here's where the movie really shines, is that development of the team. So that is the basis for the film, is the building of the team and getting that camaraderie. And the old guy teaching the new guy, but at the same time, the old guy learning how to be a team, where he's a solo guy, right? Before we get into it any further, remember, too, that I am a writer myself. If you'd like to read anything that I've written, you could go to Amazon.com and just type my name in. Or there's a link in the description below. You can check out my 4-novel sci-fi series, Destiny Aurora. It was also made into a board game, a RPG. It's also on Audible. All my books are on Kindle. And I also have my fantasy book, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch. And I also just launched my new comic, my new graphic novel called Fairy Tales of Terror, featuring a murderous Captain Hook, a psychotic Cinderella, and they are being chased around New York City as they leave bodies behind by Neverland's Tiger Lily. And the artwork is phenomenal. Anyway, I just launched it, and it has 300 followers already. It isn't launched completely for sale yet. It's just a follow notification page right now. Anyway, go to the QR code here or click the link in the description below. Okay, so let's go back to the film real quick. I hope I'm getting faster at that stuff, because I have my commercials turned off. So that is my commercial. But anyway, so let's go back to the team building of this film, of which where it really shines. And so he is going after, on a romantic basis, Kerry Condon's character, Kate, right? And Kate has a meeting with him and says, I'm pretty much off limits. But what she does say that kind of clicks with him is that she says, it's always been a team sport, and you're not playing as a team. He decides from that point to help Joshua, who is the new guy, who has a talent. He tries to help him win. and that goes badly. I'm not going to go into specifics of any kind of spoilers, but it goes badly. But he tries, and that is the thing that makes him learn. And then he goes off, and then we have a jealousy thing, and that's where it kind of goes in with Days of Thunder, where it's kind of got that camaraderie, even though they're on the same team situation. By the end, also Joshua, Damson Idris's character, he is mean to his people, right? So on the other side of the coin, Brad Pitt's character, Sonny Hayes, he tries to bring the whole team together, which is all of his pit crew and all that other things, and where Joshua then learns that by the end. So we have a lot of learning and growing, and we get to see them eventually work as a pair, and that is again where the movie really shines. So that's what the last scene of the film. That's what makes us kind of want to cheer. So it's kind of got that Rocky thing going on, where we're cheering for our team rather than our single hero. And by the end, they're both working in tandem, where throughout the film they're working pretty much against one another. So it's very interesting. And then there's a betrayal, and there's all this other stuff going on. And then we have the mother, who's played by Sarah Niles, who plays Joshua's mother, and she tries to protect him, and I appreciate that too. Then we have his PR person, and meanwhile Brad Pitt wants nothing to do with any social media or anything to that effect. And I liked all the little quirks they gave him, where he won't touch a trophy because he feels it's bad luck, and he carries around these cards, these playing cards, because he also was a gambler. And so see, he's got he's got layers. See, I'm pointing out all of his. And as a writer, that's really important to give your no matter how small and minute all of these little things are that you're giving to your character. These are things that are memorable to the audience. Like the cards, you could completely remove that from the script and it would make no difference to the story. However, it develops the character to make them human, right? Where it's not just, I'm just telling you information just for the process of the plot. I'm giving him something that, people would do. Like he, before the race, he just takes a random card and puts it in his pocket. And in fact, Joshua's character says, "Do you have no idea? Why don't you look at the card?" I don't need to. So it's very interesting, all the little quirks and everything else that's given to the characters. Also, as the writer, I don't know how many people he brought on to give him notes for people that know the strategies and the rules for racing, because the strategies he comes up with, I mean, I've seen a few races at Daytona Beach, but I couldn't tell you. I don't know how the pit stop and all that stuff works, and how the follow car or the pace car. I don't know any of that stuff. But he uses all those things to his advantage throughout the film, and I'm like, how it's extremely smart. But again, I wouldn't know anything. He had to have so many consultations with actual drivers to see how to break the system, because that's what he does. He literally breaks the system. It's a really, really interesting, and Jerry Bruckheimer has been, a how would I say I wish he was a mentor, but he's been a go-to of mine as far as what I've always wanted to be when I grow up. I always wanted to be Jerry Bruckheimer. Doing all of these adrenaline-filled films. And he's just never been topped in his whole life, as far as I'm concerned. There's no producer bigger than Jerry Bruckheimer. And it was very interesting because, he had a partner who ended up committing suicide, and he still put his name on the films even after he was dead. It's pretty cool. But anyway, so the Jerry Bruckheimer really knows how to do these adrenaline-driven films, how to get the the pieces together to make these things hot. And, this is not as good as Top Gun Maverick, but it's a totally different film. It has its own glory in different ways. So I would definitely suggest, going to see this on the biggest screen you can with the biggest sound system you can, because all of the sound as far as the engines and the tires and all this stuff really adds to the film. So definitely go see it before it's out of the theater for sure. It made the problem is a $300 million movie. They did not scrimp on having extras, that's for sure. I'm sure that some of the extras in the stadium were, CGI, but there's just a ton of extras. And they even did a bar scene that lasted all of 5 minutes, and they probably had, I would have cut that thing. There was no reason for that scene. But, even the bar scene had like 300 extras in it. Fucking crazy. And those guys on Union are not cheap. So then you have to put them all in costume. Whew, damn. Then you got to hire all the people in wardrobe to be able to deal with all that. Not on my best day, man. I would not have those amount of people. But that's what drove the budget up to that $300 million mark. You can't blame that on COVID or anything like that, like Mission Impossible. So 300, you got to double that, and you probably have, $100 million in marketing? Let's just say 50. Let's say $50 million in marketing, which is probably low worldwide. So $50 million in marketing. So you're at 350. You need $700 to $750 million to break even. Ouch. Even Mission Impossible hasn't reached that 600 million mark, even now. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to do. It did 150 million, pretty close, over the weekend. If you're going to lose 50% of that, you're going to get down to 70. You're going to be over 200. So I don't know. I think it might hit what, Mission Impossible hit, that 600 mark, and so therefore it's not going to break even. That 300 mark is too high. So let's see what happens. But I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really, really good. All right, well, that's it for me. Remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can subscribe, please do. Somebody said something about my audio, but I listen to these things after I record them, and my audio sounds fine, but let me know. Also, remember, too, to check out my stuff on Amazon if you want. Just go put my name in, or there's a link in the description below. And definitely jump into Fairy Tales of Terror. We've hit 300 followers right now. Go to the QR code or the link in the description below. Thanks again for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one. Have an awesome day.